Hey y'all, it's me, Dree. So we'll start with these oracle cards. I have freedom, contentment, and miracle. So freedom, this says the state of being unbound in your heart. Contentment, that says the peaceful acceptance of your present situation. And then finally, miracle, that says a transformation that defies logic. So collective. What I'm getting immediately is I feel like this message is about breaking free from a pattern. And I don't think it's just any pattern. I think it's a pattern that has repeatedly entered your life and created instability, maybe, confusion, maybe, emotional attachment, probably. And what I'm getting the most right away right now is that many of y'all are finally seeing this pattern clearly. And that's not because the pattern has changed. It's because y'all changed. Because what I'm getting is y'all's awareness changed. And y'all's standards changed. And that all happened because your ability to recognize distortion has changed. And because of all that, I'm getting that many of y'all are reaching a place of contentment. Not because everything turned out exactly the way you hoped it would, but because y'all finally understand what you're looking at to begin with. Y'all finally understand what happened, and y'all finally understand what keeps repeating. And because of all that, y'all are no longer getting wrapped up inside of it. And for many of you, I'm getting this recognition alone. That feels like a miracle, doesn't it? Now let's get into this message. We're starting with the Hermit reverse, the Three of Coins reverse, the Ace of Wands. So, Hermit reverse, the words that stand out on this card to me immediately are paralyzed by fear, paranoia, isolation, restriction, and loneliness. So collective. This card is feeling like someone who is trapped inside of their own fear right now. This person isn't freely moving through life. They aren't freely engaging, and they are not freely building. What they are doing is they are carrying fear. They are carrying hesitation. And they are carrying a level of restriction that prevents them from fully showing up as their authentic self. And then with this Three of Coins reverse, and getting now we see why. Because the words that stand out to me on this card right now are third-party friction, uncommitted, doing it alone, and not learning from past mistakes. So what I'm getting with this card is that this person we're talking about has created a playing field that contains friction. Now, whether that friction comes from relationships, community dynamics, social structures, it could be friction from old commitments, their past decisions, or unresolved situations. No matter which one of those it is, the result is the same here. This person is unable to freely move because they are constantly managing the consequences of the environment they have created, I'm getting. And because of that, they remain uncommitted. They remain stuck. And they remain hesitant. But then this column ends with this Ace of Wands, and this is upright. So this is where things are getting a little interesting, I'd say, because the words that stick out on this card: attraction, chemistry, a passionate start. I see igniting desire and go for it. So the spark with this person, that's real. The attraction, I'm getting that's real too. The chemistry is real. And I'm getting this person, they feel it and they engage with it. They seem to be moving toward it. But what I'm getting is that they never fully learned the lesson, because this person continues carrying passion forward without resolving the fear underneath it. So they carried chemistry forward without resolving the friction that was surrounding them. They carried desire forward without creating any structure that would have been necessary to sustain it. And because of that, their pattern repeats, I'm getting, over and over and over in their environment. The sparks they create, that's real. But the foundation, that isn't. And somehow, collective, all of this leads to this contentment emotion, which we said was the peaceful acceptance of your present situation. And so what I'm getting is that contentment is not coming from this situation itself. How could it be? I'm getting the contentment is coming from the fact that for the first time, the collective is seeing the distortion clearly. And y'all are seeing it very early in the spread. Y'all are seeing that this person can feel the spark. This person can engage with the spark. This person can ignite the chemistry. But this person is not actually committed to carrying that energy forward because they are paralyzed by fear around the third-party friction that was already existing in their environment. And because y'all can see that clearly, you do not have to get wrapped up inside of whatever this connection was. You do not have to make the chemistry mean more than the person's behavior is showing y'all. Y'all do not have to keep reaching for clarity from someone who is operating from fear and paranoia and a lack of true collaboration, because I'm getting that seeing this distortion when you did was perfectly timed by the universe. And the reason I say that is because instead of allowing this pattern to destabilize y'all accepted what was actually being shown to you. And that acceptance is what brings the contentment. That's not because you are happy about the outcome, but it's because you are no longer fighting the reality. Y'all are no longer trying to force a different result out of an energy that is already exposing its limitations. And collective, that is what moves us into this whole center column. I have the autumnal equinox, the Hierophant, Two of Swords reversed. So, with this autumnal equinox, the words that stand out to me on this card, they say prepare for change, timing, harvest, and express gratitude. So I'm getting that this card confirms that recognizing the pattern that we just named, well, recognizing that pattern puts y'all on a timing grid. The moment y'all saw it clearly, you named it, and you let it just fade away. The moment you did that, something shifted in the field. What y'all just did there, that was a game changer. And this card is telling y'all to prepare for things to start changing. Because y'all have sharpened your awareness. And then we move into the Hierophant. So I'm getting that the collective is standing in structure. The collective is standing in values. The collective is standing in beliefs. And what I'm getting the most is that this situation forced many of y'all to become very clear about what y'all actually want. Because I don't think the collective is looking for commitment just for the sake of commitment anymore. I don't think that at all. I'm getting that y'all are looking for commitment that is honest, commitment that is available, commitment that doesn't require y'all to navigate paranoia and confusion and third-party friction and mixed signals and emotional unavailability. And because this interaction with this other person exposed this pattern so clearly, that also sharpened the collective standards. Because I'm getting y'all know what y'all are building now. Y'all know what y'all are available for now. And more importantly, y'all know what y'all are no longer available for. And that's the bigger aha I'm getting. But then the heart of this message, this center column, it brings us to this Two of Wands reversed. And the words on this card, attention red flags, clear warning, decisions. So collective, This is why the field is preparing to change. I'm getting that's because y'all are seeing the red flags clearly now. The warning signs are no longer hidden behind attraction. They're no longer hidden behind the chemistry. They're no longer hidden behind potential. Because y'all are seeing the behavior. Y'all are seeing the inconsistency. Y'all are seeing the limitations. And because y'all's standards have sharpened, y'all are no longer overriding y'all's intention in order to preserve a connection. Y'all are no longer explaining away the warning signs. I'm getting y'all are no longer negotiating with the red flags. Y'all are allowing them to be exactly what they are. And really, that is exactly what I think would move us naturally into this miracle. The miracle that was the transformation that defies logic. I can see how a lot of y'all would resonate with this progression as being a real life miracle. Because I'm getting that this is the very pattern many of y'all have struggled with the most throughout probably your whole lives. Someone shows up operating inside of that pattern. There is a real spark. There is real chemistry and there is real attraction, but there is also fear. There is paranoia and there's third-party friction. And there is a lack of true collaboration. There is an inability to commit to the very spark this person chose to engage with and lead with. But collective this time, y'all saw it. Y'all saw the pattern before the pattern had the opportunity to destabilize y'all. Y'all saw it before y'all became completely wrapped up inside of it. And instead of allowing the chemistry to overpower your awareness, instead your awareness overpowered the pull. And that is the miracle. The miracle is not that this pattern never showed up again. No, the miracle is that it showed up and y'all recognized it. Y'all named it. Y'all saw the red flags, and because y'all's standard is clear now, anyone operating inside of this pattern is being shut down by y'all instead of being given unlimited access. That's huge, collective. I know it. And what's more is that even if it means walking away from somebody y'all shared a very real, very passionate spark of chemistry with, because y'all named the pattern, and because you named it, I'm getting that the pull around this shadow behavior this person is operating in, that began to lose its power over you altogether. And then the third column, this tarot drives this all home. I have the Empress, the Five of Wands, the Ace of Swords, reverse. So the Empress Collective, this is y'all. Because what I'm getting immediately is that this interaction with this person, that did not affect your position. Y'all stayed in your power. Y'all stayed in your position. And most importantly, y'all stayed in your body. I'm getting that this energy may have activated something inside of y'all. It may have created disappointment. It may have created confusion. It may have created a very strong emotional or physical reaction. But what it did not do is it did not remove y'all from yourselves. Y'all did not abandon your own standard in order to hold on to this connection. Y'all did not leave your position in order to chase this person into their confusion. Y'all stayed in this Empress energy. And then we have this Five of Wands and the words on this card. Personality clashes. Arguing. Chaos. Misunderstanding. Opposition. Lost opportunity. So yes, there very well may have been a misunderstanding here. There may have been a clash in energy. There may have been a clash in personality. And for some of y'all, this may feel like a lost opportunity. But what I'm really getting is that the collective is no longer holding the walls up for energy that clashes with them. Y'all are no longer doing all the work that's required to keep an interaction standing. Y'all are no longer trying to smooth over every inconsistency. And y'all are no longer forcing compatibility. Y'all are no longer carrying the full weight of a connection just because there was chemistry there. And with all that, we end with this Ace of Swords reversed. I'm seeing reevaluate, misinformation, blocked communication, clouded judgment, redirect, hostility. Collective, this situation now has to be reevaluated altogether, and I know that y'all know that. Because what I'm getting is that y'all are not totally clear on the intentions or motives of this other person. There may be information missing. There may be something they never communicated. There may be something they communicated very poorly. And there may be a much larger situation surrounding this person that y'all simply do not have the access to. But collective, even though you may not be clear on this person's intentions, y'all are clear on the state of confusion this person left you feeling, right? Y'all are cleared on the blocked communication. Y'all are cleared on the contradiction between the spark they engaged with and the lack of commitment they displayed afterward. And y'all know what needs to be done now, because the Ace of Swords reverse is telling the collective to redirect. Y'all need to take all this pent up energy this situation created inside of you. And, well, instead of continuing to pour your energy into the communication barrier that this person created, y'all begin to redirect yourselves away from it. Y'all take the attention of what they meant and you remove yourselves from it. You take the attention off of what they intended. You take the intention off of what they may or may not do next. And y'all put that attention back onto y'all's selves. Put that attention back onto y'all's own destination, back onto y'all's own creation, y'all's own existence, because nothing about this energy is exposing itself as an investment here, right? And I know the collective is no longer investing themselves into energy that cannot communicate properly, energy that cannot collaborate honestly, and energy that cannot move beyond its own sphere long enough to stand behind the spark it chose willingly to ignite. I don't know. I think that is freedom. I think that is the contentment. And I think that all of this is the true miracle, because it shows your growth. And just think, if you managed to collapse a lifelong pattern of choosing partners who express themselves as available and then turn out not to be, if you start collapsing that pattern instantly like you just did, think about what that does to your capacity. Because collective, I'm getting that this arc, it happened quickly. This wasn't spread out over a long period of time. Y'all activated your discernment and you saw the pattern clearly. And that is the evolution. That is how you evolve. And that's the message that I have for y'all today. So if this one landed, then like my message. If you made it to the end, then leave me a comment and let me know. And make sure y'all are following along. And remember, where there is love, there is light. I'll see y'all again real soon.